Welcome to Coffee with Democrats, a sensible platform for progressive conversations. Coffee with Democrats is a grassroots movement dedicated to hearing from Democrats, candidates, legislators, and friends from all political backgrounds who want great conversations. Coffee with Democrats is committed to increase Democrat voter registration and Democrat voter turnout by making voting more exciting and meaningful. And now here's your host of Coffee with Democrats, Kevin Dawson.
Hey, Kerri. Good to have you on Coffee with Democrats. Can you give us a little introduction about yourself and what you're doing now?
Okay. Well, my name is Kerri Keck, and I am currently running for the Oklahoma State House of Representatives for District 26, which is Shawnee and parts of Pottawatomie County, the central part of Oklahoma and just east of Oklahoma City.
Excellent. So a little bit about your background. Where were you born at?
I was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. My parents moved around a lot when I was a kid. My dad was a welder, and so they moved all over the country. But they settled here in Oklahoma when my sister was around 5, so we could start school.
And that's where you grew up then, is in Oklahoma. Where in Oklahoma?
And so they settled in Shawnee, and my dad was building a water tank here, and they just loved the people in this community. And so this is where they wanted to make their home.
And then did you graduate from school in Shawnee?
Well, I went to Shawnee Public Schools until the 9th grade, and then we moved just north of town. I transferred to a small school called Dale Public Schools, the Dale Pirates, and it was a fantastic school, a great community, and we really loved being there.
After you graduated from high school, did you go to college?
I did. I went to OSU OKC for a year, a community college in Oklahoma City. It was something that I could actually afford, and gave me an opportunity to start getting an education. But about halfway through, my brother joined the Marines, and that kind of inspired me to want to serve our country and do something a little more. And I decided to join the Army. My dad had served in Vietnam in the Army, and my grandfather had served in World War II in the Army. So I just thought that that's something that I should do.
What were some of the ranks that you first? So you went in as enlisted, is that correct?
Yes. So I went in as a private, like very lowest on the totem pole, and I made it. So before I became a commissioned officer, I was promoted to non-commissioned E5 sergeant, right. And then I commissioned in 2007.
It usually takes quite a while for people to go from, a private E1 to an E5. How long did it take you?
Oh, well, from 1997 to 2000, I think, the year 2000, maybe, or it might have been 1999.
Oh, really? You accelerated very quickly.
Well, I was recognized for my leadership ability quite a bit. When I was a private, I was, our squad leader in basic training, and held some leadership roles throughout my training. And then I just was promoted based on hard work and just my abilities. So yeah, so we deployed to Bosnia in 2000, and I was promoted to E5 before that. So
okay. So you mentioned just a minute ago that you eventually became an officer. Why did you become an officer?
Well, I thought, or in my experience, I loved being a non-commissioned officer. I loved leading soldiers and leading people and getting the job done. But in my experience, I saw, officers have a little more power and control over, and they're primarily responsible for the mission, for planning the mission, and making decisions that really impact lives. And I wanted to play a bigger role and provide a positive influence, especially for female soldiers, and being a mentor and a role model for female soldiers.
Excellent. So you went about going through OCS, Officers Candidate School, is that right?
I did, yes. So
when did that take place?
So I came off of active duty in 2000 and joined the Oklahoma National Guard, and then deployed with the Oklahoma National Guard in 2003. And after that, I was basically full-time for the Oklahoma National Guard. And so in 2007, when I became an officer, when I went to officer candidate school, I went to National Guard officer candidate school. And we started our first 2 weeks were in Fort McClellan, Alabama, in the heat of the summer, August. It's terrible. But very hot, lots of poison ivy, lots of snakes. But luckily, after that 2 weeks, we went to Fort Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania, and did a couple weeks there, and then back to Fort McClellan, Alabama for our field training exercises and graduation.
So what doors did the officer candidate school open for you?
Well, it allowed me a lot of opportunities I wouldn't have had as an enlisted soldier. Prior to our training for Afghanistan in 2011, for our deployment to Afghanistan in 2011, I was a first lieutenant in our brigade intelligence section, but I was selected to develop a training program for females. What we call them a female engagement team. And so the culture in Afghanistan doesn't allow males to interact with females directly. But so we needed female soldiers who had the ability and the knowledge to be able to interact with local females and obtain the information they couldn't get otherwise. Women like to talk, we like to gossip. And so it's a really good source of information that can lead to beneficial intelligence. So I was provided the opportunity to come up with that training program. I worked with some fantastic non-commissioned officers during that program. And then when we returned, I was given the opportunity to be a company commander for the Military Intelligence Company for the 45th Brigade Special Troops Battalion. And we stood up one of the first unmanned aircraft system unit for the Oklahoma Army National Guard, which is a really fantastic experience. And then, I was able to be the second in charge, the executive officer of an engineer battalion. And we, in 2019, so when I was the commander for the Military Intelligence Company, we also helped recover the tornado recovery efforts in 2013 during the Moore tornado.
Okay.
To help with those recovery efforts. And then in 2019, my unit in Broken Arrow, we helped with the Tulsa flooding efforts. We built a lot of sandbag barriers, and ensured that multiple communities didn't flood because of our efforts. I was part of helping, we worked with the Cherokee Nation to build homes for Cherokee veterans. And so I helped put that together and make those connections and plan for that event. So just a lot of opportunities I might not have had had I not become an officer. So
Sure. So let's talk just a little bit about when did you transition out of the military?
So in 2021, I retired from active duty for the Oklahoma Army National Guard.
In your transition period, was it a lengthy transition period where you went through some schooling, or was it just basically, the last day is your retirement day and they have a party and you leave?
Yeah, that's kind of the way it is.
Okay.
No, the Army does a really good job of preparing their soldiers for retirement. They provide, especially active duty soldiers, they provide a lot of opportunities for them to get training, to work in the civilian sector. So I did have opportunities, yes, to obtain that training. So they didn't kick me out, with nothing.
Sure. While you were in the military, what were all the ranks that you held? You said you started as a private. What was your final rank?
Sorry. So I retired as a major.
As a major. Okay. And can you list, as most people that were in the military, you kind of have a memory of what all of your awards and achievements were. Do you have a list of things that you want to talk about that you were given awards with?
I can, yeah. I was fortunate enough to be recognized for both my hard work and accomplishments throughout my career. I have been awarded several medals. I could list them for you, but I don't think I necessarily need to list all of them. But the ones that I'm most proud of are I was awarded 3 meritorious service medals, and 1 Bronze Star, which is the one I'm most proud of. And that was primarily for my work with the female engagement teams. And as an officer with the U.S. Army Engineer Regiment, I was awarded the Fleury Medal for my contributions to the Engineer Corps, the U.S. Army Engineer Corps. So those are the 2 that I'm most proud of.
So throughout your military career and to the point where you are right now, how did the military and National Guard prepare you for leadership?
Well, I think one of the things the military does the best is solve problems. And we have a whole process for how we solve problems. But the biggest benefit, or the biggest way that we do that, is by working together. The military is obviously very diverse. We have people from all over the country with all different experiences, and especially in the National Guard, we have people working in all different sectors within our community. So learning how to work together to get the mission done, and utilize each other's strengths to come together and make it easier on everyone to do the mission. I think those are definitely skills that I learned in the military that directly relate to my job as a legislator.
Excellent. That's what was going to be my next question, is why should people vote for you in November?
Well, people should vote for me in November because our legislature has had a supermajority for over a decade now, and Oklahoma is at the bottom ranking in some very measurable, very impactful categories, to include child well-being, health and well-being, and women's economic and social well-being. And I don't think that our current course that our supermajority legislature is on has been beneficial in improving the lives of Oklahomans. And I want to be a voice for people in our community. I want to stand up for the people that are experiencing poverty. We have one of the highest rates of poverty in the state at 20.1%. A lot of childhood poverty, and I want to do something about that. I want to find solutions and solve problems, and that's what I would like. That's why people should vote for me in November. Well, I am incredibly excited to host the Coffee with Democrats Women's Roundtable in 2024. I am very grateful for the opportunity and humbled that Kevin was willing to trust me and entrust me with such an important event. I am excited to be on the roundtable with some incredible women who are leaders in their community and who are also solution-oriented problem solvers. So Gloria Johnson, who is running for the U.S. Senate from Tennessee. Megan Barry is running for the U.S. House from Nashville, Tennessee. Jane George is also running for the U.S. House and from Knoxville, Tennessee. And then Jess Piper, who is the executive director of Blue, Missouri, and a Democratic influencer from Maryville, Missouri. So super excited to have a conversation with these incredible ladies about the impact of the Supreme Court decision to strike down Roe versus Wade and the protections provided by that Supreme Court decision. So excited to see what's going on in their states and how they are trying to provide protections and solutions for women impacted by state laws that our legislatures have been passing to restrict women's reproductive health care across the United States.
Thank you so much, Kerri. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it very much, and I'm super excited to have a conversation with these incredible ladies. I can't wait.